The loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Thank you for tuning to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we discuss the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football. From the latest science issues, breakout stars, and all the news in between, as always, I'm Jeremiah.
And I am Alex, and we had a killer Monday night game last night. And by killer, I mean not at all.
Was it better, though, than the Sunday night game?
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
It's obviously more scoring.
Yeah. A lot more.
We're going to be talking that, obviously. We'll be recapping that game. We will be talking a couple injuries, in a sense. We'll talk about Geno Smith, and then we'll be talking about Arian Foster to end the show. But we're going to start with the Houston Texans facing the Denver Broncos, the first time that Brock Osweiler has ever faced his former team, and it was bad for him. The Broncos win this one 27-9. Brock Osweiler ends the game with 131 yards passing. At the start of the fourth quarter, he had 60-plus yards passing. That's it, 60-plus yards. Alfred Blue, let's talk about Alfred Blue on accident.
We always do.
Alfred Blue led the team in rushing with 11 rushes for 63 yards, closely followed by Lamar Miller with 11 for 61 yards. But Lamar Miller seemed to be dealing with an injury most of the day. Osweiler even had a couple rushing yards because he was being harassed so much in the pocket by that vaunted pass rush of the Broncos. He ended up with 3 rushes for 16 yards and a team total of 140. You look at star receiver DeAndre Hopkins. He only had 5 receptions for 36 yards. They really blanketed him no matter what side of the field he was on. They were all over him. They handled him like Pee-wee, man. It was insane. Like, they were handling him. We look at the Broncos. Trevor Siemian didn't have amazing numbers, 157-1, but he definitely looked a lot better and a lot more poised than Osweiler. 14 for 25, only 11 incompletions there, as opposed to Osweiler had 22 for 41, almost 20 incompletions there. He looked poised. He looked good in a sense. You know, the offense struggled early. They were only 3 for 11 on third down, so that was an issue. And that was an issue for me because I'm like, man, this game sucks. But both good defenses, so it's what you come to expect. C.J. Anderson led the way on offense in terms of rushing yards, 16 carries for 107 and a touchdown. Devontae Booker gets his first touchdown of his career, rookie out of Utah, 17 for 83 for him.
Yeah, he had his best game last night, too.
He did. He had most touches in a game last night. The leading receiver for the team was Emmanuel Sanders on 4 receptions. He had 86 yards, but the touchdown of the night, the lone touchdown of the night, for the offense in terms of passing was received by Demaryius Thomas, who only had 4 for 40. He had a kind of an up and down game, a lot of drops for the both offenses in general. But if you were looking for offense, this definitely wasn't the game. Excuse me. There was, though, one thing to keep in mind, and that was I'm trying to think of a clever name for it. It's an incomplete pass fumble. The incompletion fumble.
Oh, the one by Brock Osweiler that was just
his
so
empty
bad.
hand throw, yes, the incompletion fumble. One of 2 fumbles that the Broncos recovered, of course. One being from Lamar Miller, I believe. This is pretty much from the beginning of the game. It was pretty much decided. I mean, at one point it was 6-0 Houston, but at halftime it was 6-14. I'm pretty sure Osweiler had something like 40 yards at halftime. And again, at the start of the fourth, he had 62 or something like that. He just played god-awful. It only took 1 sack, didn't lose any yards or anything, but they were on him all night. He didn't look comfortable. He was erratic. He was not accurate. He was not calm. He seemed very just, his mind wasn't on the play every time. Like, he had too many things to worry about, Personally, you had the guy who was the third string at one point last year. You had him as a second stringer at certain points last year. The 7th round pick at one point, in his career from Northwestern outplay the $72 million man.
And I remember when I walked in today, you're like, we know what we should call this episode? The Curious Case of the Missing $72 million. And I was like,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What? And it took me a while to get it. And you were talking about Brock Osweiler because he literally went to Houston for taking the money instead of staying with Denver, where he probably could have had a better year.
Have you seen Zombieland?
I have.
You know when they're in Bill Murray's house and I can't think of his name right now. The main guy, not
Jesse Eisenberg.
No, the other one.
Oh, Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. Thank you. He's talking about his kid. He's crying. He's wiping his eyes with money. I saw a GIF of that last night, and this is Brock Osweiler right now, just crying, wiping his eyes with money. So I thought that's pretty funny. But yeah, man, he since the start of the year, Brock Osweiler has led this team to 4 wins. Yes, but they are winless on the road. He currently has a quarterback rating of 71.9 with a passing yardage of 1,533 and 8 touchdowns as well as 8 interceptions. He's not been great. He's not been bad. He's been very subpar. So far, his QBR, which is a little bit different than quarterback rating, is 47 even, which is not a good thing. Not a good thing at all, Jeremiah.
It is not.
Not in my opinion.
No. And he's been playing the way we thought he would be playing, average.
Yeah, so far this year, his his season high in passing yards is 269, and that was last week against the Colts. He currently has 231 the first week, looked okay. 268 the following week, more interceptions and touchdowns. Bad against the Patriots, 196, no touchdowns to pick. Okay against the Titans in a win, 254 and 2-2. 184 against the Vikings and 1-1 in a loss and looked bad again. And that overtime win, 269, 2-1. And of course, he kind of let him back at the end of that. And then, of course, his lowest total, I don't know if it's of his career, but definitely of this year, obviously, and 131 of any game he started and finished, I'd like to imagine, because he did have 146 last year against the Chiefs and then 166 against the Chargers, but he had better numbers the rest of that season. He's just not looking like $72 million to me. When you hear $72 million, you're looking for like average of 260 plus yards a game. You're looking for the good stuff. And not getting it from Mr. Osweiler.
No, $72 million, way too much money.
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen what happens with him, what goes on.
Don't get me wrong, though. He fits this team because they do have a.
Because they're goofy looking.
They have a because they have a solid team all around.
Yeah,
and remember this was a team that went to the playoffs with Brian Hoyer
with 5 different quarterbacks that year.
Yeah, and they needed some stability at quarterback, and I really thought Brock Osweiler, would give him that. And
I don't know if I thought he would, really, weirdly enough. I didn't think when he went over there, I didn't think he would be the savior or anything, No,
I thought he'll be like I can't think of him as a franchise guy. Like, I could see him going to Houston, but I thought Houston really overpaid for him.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you need a franchise guy like that, sometimes it happens.
And I don't know. To me, Brock Osweiler is no better than a stopgap quarterback to me right now. He's not a franchise quarterback. He hasn't looked like that. Even like last season with the good defense of the Denver Broncos, still looked pretty average to below average at times.
Yeah, he had those second half issues. Whether we saw that, against a few different teams.
Yeah, the defense really saved him a lot last year.
Yeah, we saw his second half issues against the Patriots, against the Broncos the week before that. He had issues against the Chargers in December, earlier December that season last year with the Broncos, not being able to really keep it consistent from the first half to the second half. And we're seeing that more overall in the whole game now in this one. And honestly, he's got to start picking it up. I don't think he's any. Obviously, I'm not saying he's only because he's going to get benched or something. He's not in danger of losing his job or anything. But he needs to start picking it up because as of right now, the Texans have a decent stretch ahead of them. They have the Jaguars and the Lions in the next 2 weeks. Lions this Sunday, and then bye weekend, Jaguars. Then they have the Raiders, and that is a home game for them. So the Raiders are going to be playing better because they're on the road, That's how the Raiders do it this year. And then they have the Chargers and the Packers. Definitely winnable games, but not with the kind of offense we saw last night.
No.
Not at all.
No. Even Lamar Miller, I know he played injured, but still, you need a lot more from your running back there. But Alfred Blue did play pretty well in his place.
Yeah,
so,
he did. Well, again, they played pretty similar, but yeah, he did. He looked good.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, though, passing yards per game as an offense, 30th in the league at 204. Their rushing yards are not bad, 115 for the 12th. Their defense, though, is kind of helping them out because their points for right now is 16.7. That's 31st in the league. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
It's going to be a problem if you don't figure it out, Brocky. And until then...
You just call him Brocky.
I sure did. The broccoli. Oh, yeah. And obviously, Brock Osweiler got very booed last night.
I imagine.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
Oh, it was from the start. There was a sign that says something like... what was it? It was those crying emoji faces, like laughing emojis.
The crying Jordan meme?
No, the crying, laughing emojis from iPhones. They're laughing and they have a tear coming out each side of their eye.
I don't think I've ever seen those.
You have. I'll show you the break.
You might have to show me during the break.
It was a sign that said like you think that's worth $72 million, and it's just like laughing emojis all over it, something like that. It was like they were out in force from the get-go with him, so they were on top of him from the start, and I don't think that got to him, but he definitely didn't play much of a game at all.
But Trevor Siemian did outplay him, the guy that was his backup last year.
Yes, he did.
Backup to the backup, for that matter.
Exactly. Yeah, you sign a 4-year, $72 million contract, you go somewhere expected to be better than the guy that takes over for you if he's your backup, and no, he outplayed you, buddy. He outplayed you. But that, to say the least, we'll have to see where they go from there. We don't have football again until Thursday, which is going to be a killer game, Jeremiah. Titans-Jaguars.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll preview that, of course, tomorrow and Thursday a bit. But we're done with talking for football for now. Of course, we'll be back because this is a football show in a moment to talk Arian Foster news in just a moment here. So we'll be right back at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
And welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. And we're talking about the Monday Night Football game in the first segment, Alex and I.
Yep.
And Alex mentioned that Brock Osweiler was getting booed last night at Mile High. There's a sign, I guess you said, Alex, that there was a
fan made sign, yeah.
Yeah, it said, like, you would think that's worth $72 million, and there was the crying face emoji. Mm-hmm. I said I didn't see it.
You don't remember it or anything?
I for some reason, I don't remember it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, it is the morning, so
true.
My mind's
It is early.
My mind's not 100%.
Just under 8:30 currently.
But I did see it before. You just texted it to me.
Yeah,
I'm not
the
sure.
Emoji, at least.
I'm not sure if you texted me the emoji because you were laughing at me.
Nope.
Okay.
No, just to show you which one it was.
Okay. I've seen it. I've seen it plenty of times.
Well, yeah, you have an iPhone. I imagine you have. Duh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. That should go on our Wacky Wednesday. I forgot what emoji looked like.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our next bit of news. We're talking retirement now. Arian Foster has announced via the website What was it? I had it earlier.
Uninterrupted.
Uninterrupted. Thank you. I thought I opened the same page in which I was doing my sports show, and it's not. Yeah, via the website Uninterrupted, that he is retiring at the age of 30. He chose to do so in the middle of the season, but it kind of makes sense. He had some hamstring and groin problems at the beginning of the year, and he came back, and of course did not look the same. And then Ajayi happened to have 2 back-to-back 200-yard games, so you can imagine he would be a backup in a sense. So he decided it's time for him to retire. What did you think when you read this?
I'm not really surprised one bit, and I think we talked about Arian Foster. I think when he signed with Miami Dolphins, well, at least I did. I think I talked about it on one of the shows when you weren't here, and I said, maybe he can add some veteran leadership, but he would not last long as a starter there. And that apparently,
you did say that, yeah.
And apparently it did happen. Jay Ajayi, he emerged for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, Ajayi has been on fire.
He's been in Fuego, so to speak. And there's just no way you can stop this guy when he runs, especially when Ajayi drinks the pickle juice.
He drinks pickle juice?
Yeah, he does that for cramps. I remember he did that when he was at Boise State as well. Ajayi, he used to do that to avoid cramps. Okay. But it's a little fun fact there.
That's gross. There's nothing fun about that.
That is pretty gross. I don't know why he does it, but he does it because it avoids.
People like it, man.
Apparently, it avoids cramps. It's the reason why he does it. But Arian Foster's been hampered with injuries for the past couple of seasons now. But man, when he was in his prime with the Texans from 2010 to 2014, one of the best running backs in this league by far. And you got to think about that one year when he scored 17 touchdowns.
Yeah, he was on fire that year.
That was the best year I've seen out of a running back
since
LT. Yeah, and I thought the pace that he was going that year, he could have got a lot more touchdowns too. But
yeah,
he could have.
The style of runner he was, he definitely missed some.
Yeah, he did.
But he also got a lot of the receiving touchdowns too. That was his thing.
That was his thing. He was a complete back. He could have done it all.
And he was one of the more recent gliders that I remember too. He never really looked like he was running. It always looked like he was skating.
Yeah,
he was a glider, man. He quoted as saying, "There comes a time in every athlete's career when the ambition of their body, their ambition and their body are no longer on the same page, and I've reached that point." Which, it sucks, but going out on your own terms is better than being forced out, and a lot of those things. So it's definitely, I think it's better that he chose to do it on his terms than having to be injured out of the, especially with the way his career has gone. I would have hated for him to be injured and forced out, in that sense.
Yeah, and Foster ranks high among all players with a minimum of 1,000 touches since 2010, which was his breakout year. Mm-hmm. This is per NFL research here, and he finished his career ranked first in yards from scrimmage per game and 100-yard rushing games, and is tied for the lead in touchdowns from scrimmage, and that is since 2010. With players with a minimum of 1,000 touches. Mm-hmm. And his 84.7 rush yards per game ranks second during that span as well. So he made a huge impact, and you got he didn't really have a lot of good quarterback play there too.
Yeah, no, Matt Schaub at the beginning. Schaub was good.
Schaub was good in the beginning of his tenure there, but then
it dropped off big time.
He fell off. And imagine if Arian Foster actually played with an elite quarterback.
Like a Tom Brady?
Yeah. Imagine that. His career probably would have even been better.
Yeah. I can see that. The one thing that I saw that I wanted to mention in which his career kind of, for him, was, I think, something big for him. So not only is he the Texans franchise record holder with 6,472 yards rushing, in his career, minimum 80 games played, he averaged 110.9 yards from scrimmage. That is fifth all-time in the NFL behind Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Adrian Peterson, and Walter Payton. For a guy that's undrafted, who always played with that chip on his shoulder out of Tennessee, I'm sure that is something that he will take into retirement as a very, very good thing in his career.
Yeah, he got undrafted, I think, in 2009. 2009. Yes. Mm-hmm. I think he was a practice squad player, or so to speak.
I imagine as a drafted guy
he wasn't even on the roster his rookie year, and in 2010 he just came out of nowhere. And man, he was just a breath of fresh air when he broke out.
Yeah, a different kind of runner than there had been in the NFL for a few years. So it was definitely a nice change of pace in that sense. All right, it's time to take our second break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk injury news to Geno Smith of the gangrene New York Jets. We'll talk about him in just a minute here and the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
And we're back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and it's time to talk about injuries. And one big one to one decent player, Geno Smith. Geno Smith tore his ACL. He had to start this weekend for the Jets. He was playing what I can only describe as very subpar. He had one long pass that's going to make that game look better, but to be fair, it was very mixed results in my eyes. Well, he hurt his knee in a play that I actually thought he had I thought he had a concussion or something with the way he went down. I guess, though, in the way he went down, it twisted his knee. As a result, the 26-year-old is likely set to miss the final remaining games and the rest of the season for the Jets, as he probably will be required to have season-ending surgery on his right knee. He's facing the Baltimore Ravens this past Sunday. Ryan Fitzpatrick will become the starting quarterback again. Second-year quarterback Bryce Petty, who has no regular season experience, returned to practice a couple weeks ago from a shoulder injury that he suffered during the preseason. He's not going to be starting, at least he's not ready to start according to the coach, but he will be the backup, at least. It'd be interesting to see if Hackenberg dresses as well, seeing as the lack of success that Mr. Fitzpatrick has had at times this year could prompt them to make a change to the second stringer. I don't know if they would dress all three, though, in that sense. You know what I mean? I would feel like an injury would have to occur for that to happen. But they are one of, I think, the only team, actually, to keep all four quarterbacks on the roster. The Jets might have been the only team to do so, but they're not the only team to use that many. Actually, they haven't used that many. They only used two. We're looking at you, Browns. We're looking at you.
Yep.
But, it's tough for a kid, 26-year-old guy, probably played his final game with the Jets. I doubt they'll re-sign him. He's a free agent after this year. They have Christian Hackenberg. They have Bryce Petty, who's probably not going to be the guy. Hackenberg more likely. But this, if you're Geno, I guess this sucks, huh?
Geno Smith waited literally 7 weeks before getting his first start. And when he finally got it, this was his chance, his second chance, so to speak, to show people that he can be a starter in the NFL. Because no matter if he would have done, I think if he would have done decent, there's no way I think the Jets would have re-signed him anyway. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't see it. So I think this was going to be his audition to see if he can sign a contract next year. I still think he can.
I still think somebody will sign him.
I still think someone will sign him, but I think Geno Smith wants to show people that he can be a starter. Yeah. And it's not going to happen. Unfortunately, it's tough for Geno Smith, who dealt with a lot of it's been eventful, so to speak, in New York, especially since last.
You could say that.
It's been eventful. He's had an eventful career so far in New York. You got to think back to last year when he was about to be the starter. Then, he got punched in the face at training camp.
Yes, he did.
He got punched in the face, all right. And then I kept him out for a while.
Pretty much most of the year. Pretty
much the entire year. And, when he had a second chance getting a torn ACL on his right knee, you gotta feel bad for him, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
Because, this is what he does. And coming into the league, Geno Smith, that is, I actually wasn't really high on him, coming out of Virginia Tech, West Virginia, so to speak. And I wasn't high on him. I didn't think he was going to be a franchise guy, and he has clearly showed that. But I do think he can be a capable backup in this league, which he has showed. And what I want to see from the Jets is I really think at the end of the year, I think we're going to have Christian Hackenberg get some snaps at the end, towards the end, for that matter. I think
so too, yeah.
Because, you saw what Fitzpatrick has done. He hasn't got this team. He hasn't got them anywhere. He literally went 1-5 before the game this weekend, which they won, by the way. And I know he came back to win that game, but he didn't start the game. And, Bryce Petty's probably not going to get a lot of snaps. Like you said, Alex, he doesn't have a lot of regular season experience.
Zero.
And Hackenberg doesn't have experience at all either. He didn't play in the preseason. But
he played a little bit. Two games.
But Hackenberg, you got him in the second round. There's talent in the second round there. You got to see what he can do.
Yeah, he's definitely a work in progress. But that's why you drafted him, and you're working with him. I'm sure he's getting some reps. I'm sure he'll get more as the year goes on too. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets try to sign a quarterback. I don't think
they don't need one.
I don't think they're going to draft one.
Maybe not. Yeah. You mean sign one at the end of the year?
Yeah,
when free agency starts. Yeah, because Fitzpatrick's probably gone. So I imagine they'll sign.
In the spring, because they're not going to draft
this year.
No. I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback. I think they're going to probably go on defense in the draft. That's what
maybe some offensive line.
That's probably what they're offensive line by far. That's what they need that to run the ball, and I can't see them drafting a quarterback. But I can see them getting a veteran. Maybe perhaps trading for Tony Romo. I did say that. I did, but
trading for somebody like that though would be the starter.
But I highly doubt it will happen. Yeah. I don't think the Jets want to give up anybody for an injury play quarterback who's 36.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my synopsis of this whole thing. It's just a dumpster fire for the Jets. They just can't find the answer at quarterback.
Yeah,
just can't do it.
Fitzpatrick's probably gone. Chino's obviously probably gone. So you have two quarterbacks that you have to build through there, and then they'll probably sign maybe like a veteran or something.
Yeah, they have to start the year.
Josh McCown.
They have to start. They have to sign veteran quarterback to practically start the season for 2017. Because I don't know.
It depends on how they finish this year.
I don't know if Hackenberg's going to be named the starter next year, but I do think he could be potentially the future.
Yeah, I think it depends on how this year ends and if he gets reps and all that kind of stuff. A lot can happen in 2 seasons when you get your head around the playbook and all that. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah,
I'm very interested to see his career and how it takes off from here. Tomorrow we will be talking Wide Left Wednesday, and we'll be talking what else, Jeremiah?
For real.
We're talking for real, as well as any news that pops up in the meantime before that. But just like every Wednesday, we'll be joined by Anthony. And the three of us will do those segments together and have fun with it. Can you wait?
No, I can't wait.
I can't wait either. But until then, you guys have to wait because we're done for the day. Jeremiah is going to be recording his fantasy football show, in which you heard the commercial for a little while ago. So check it out. If you need some insight on your fantasy football team, if you want some ideas on who to pick up or who to drop, listen to the show. It's pretty rad. Anyways, I think it's time for us to get going.
Yeah.
As always, I'd like to thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. For Anthony, I am Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah.
And we will see you guys the same place, same channel, again.
Same bat time.
Same bat time.
Same bat channel.
Yeah. Tomorrow or whatever day you like to listen to us. You guys have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your sports, and we will see you then.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.